like to ask you how the nomination of the current sitting governor came about. That's Rt.Hon Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, because there are rumors out there that he paid the sum of 6 billion naira or a little over that to get the nomination.
Okay. Thank you so much. In 2000 and I'll take your time, so I explain fully what happened. In our days in government, we practiced democracy to the letter. We allowed people decide on their candidates. No impositions, and that made a lot of people, if not all the people who had left PDP to come back. Because during my tenure as governor, Enugu was like synonymous with PDP. Everybody was in PDP. Traditional rulers, people ordinarily who ought not to have played partisan politics, were in PDP. In 2011, when I was campaigning, we went to Nsukka to campaign for my second term. The traditional rulers of Enugu North Zone, who were then led by the late Igwe, Charles Abangu, they hosted us. In the end, he made, on behalf of others, a request that Enugu East District, having produced Chime and then myself coming from the Enugu West, that I should consider the possibility of ceding power to someone from Enugu North, that is the Nsukka area. I didn't respond to it. We just thanked them for every other thing, their support and all that. Later, because then in government, we were used to town hall meetings to actually ask people, to find out from them where we were going wrong and all that. One journalist raised his hand to ask a question towards the end of the event, and he said yes. He asked me, now I'm doing my second term. When I leave, where do I think governorship should go to? And I gave him a straight answer. I said Enugu North. Some people who had the ambition of being governor from other zones attacked me. Newspapers were washed with all sorts of comments. But because it was a popular decision, people bought into it. All the other parties bought into it. No candidate came from any other zone, even for other parties during the elections. So that was how the Nsukka zone talk came about. Then in 2000, and just before the political hostilities, buying of forms and all that, just before the buying of forms for the 2015 elections, I called a meeting of all the stakeholders from Enugu North Senatorial District. Like I said then, it was just one party, so everybody was in PDP. At that meeting, I told them that I didn't give them any idea of the agenda or agendum, why I called the meeting, because I didn't want any one of them to spend money lobbying for certain positions. I told them why I called them. It was just for them to give me a candidate. That once they gave me a candidate, that it will be my business to ensure that that candidate would have the support of the other districts and the state, that I will personally undertake to sell his candidacy. Some people who had wanted to be governor stepped down. One of them actually nominated him. I'll call names because this, I think, is serious. Ugwuanyi, and nominated him. And that nomination was seconded by the former deputy governor of Enugu State, Rt.Hon. There was no other nomination. Somebody else tried to nominate Ayoge. I said tried because that nomination didn't go through. He nominated him, but there was nobody to second that motion. So in the end, it was just Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi who was nominated. And I put it to vote. And unanimously, because I didn't hear any dissenting voice, I asked them, anybody against his nomination should say nay. And nobody spoke. Nobody raised his voice. But when I asked the other question, anybody supporting the nomination should say yeah. Everybody stood up shouting yeah. And they were embracing each other. That was how he came up as the candidate. And in line with the promise I had made before his nomination by his people, it became my business after that to call a meeting of Enugu East stakeholders and told them what the Enugu North people had done and who their candidate was. Did the same thing with Enugu West. So that was how he emerged as the candidate of PDP. That was exactly in line with our practice then. You would ask anybody who played politics with us, who was in politics with us, who was around when we were playing politics. We allowed people to decide on their leaders, on their candidates. And that made elections in those days very cheap. Very cheap. We didn't have to spend money giving to anybody or buying any vote or blah, blah, blah. No. Once you allow the people to decide on their candidates, everything goes so easily. So that was how he emerged. Anybody suggesting or trying to imply by any chance that I was giving money for him to emerge as a candidate, I think it's ridiculous. And not to talk about the amount I'm hearing. They said 6 billion. Okay. Well, that's politics. You know, once you come out in politics for anything, people will come up with stories. There are so many other stories about me out there, but I initially didn't want to respond to all that. But this is now, it's going to cost us heavily if I just keep quiet. And a lot of people go out there with the impression that that position was actually paid for. Nobody paid for anything. If you meet any person from Nsukka, any stakeholder from Nsukka, he will confirm this story I've just told you. So that was how he emerged as our candidate. I can go ahead and tell you that shortly after he became governor, I immediately observed that things weren't going the way I expected. And I withdrew from the party. I withdrew from PDP. Not to send the wrong signals. I wasn't part of his emergence as when he was doing his second term. Okay, so I had nothing to do with his personal, I didn't have anything personal to do with his emergence as governor. No, his nomination, sorry. But we campaigned for him. During the campaigns, it may be good to say, during the campaigns, his only mantra was seamless continuity and consolidation. And we all believed him. I don't know if I've answered your question or you want me to go on.
Hello and good day. This is Punchline and we are First News Nation. And Punchline, of course, you know we discuss national politics and national politics. The countdown to the March 11th governorship and State House of Assembly elections to be conducted by the same independent National Electoral Commission. And the question is, will the governorship election still take place on Saturday, considering what's going on with the Labour Party and the PDP and INEC? Labour Party has been to the courts to ask for permission to check out INEC materials. So has the PDP. And of course, we've seen the situation where Labour Party has also maintained that they need to have access to the BVAS. INEC has gone to court telling the nation and telling the court, please don't allow anyone tamper with the BVAS because we need it reconfigured for the governorship election come Saturday. Now, I believe that court case has been ruled in favor of the Labour Party. If the Labour Party still keeps inspecting those materials, inspecting the BVAS, that means the possibility of the Saturday election holding is very limited, except INEC wants to come up with another plan or give an excuse, as that is one of the reasons for their many logistics failures. But we're going to watch to see how that pans out. Don't forget, this is Punchline, and we're counting down to the governorship and State House of Assembly elections I am Sami Ajufo. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at First News Nation, or go a step further, enable notifications on all our platforms so you can get latest updates on all our shows. We'll see you again.